This is the Rebel Scum Podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast.
Hello.
Hello, here we are.
279. 279,
welcome
flawless execution.
To the Rebel Scum Podcast. Finally, the kid has come back. I apologize for not being here last week for a roaring good conversation about Mandalorian, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't listen.
I went solo, Brock. I was solo. Thank you for that.
Oh, you sound way better now.
Yes, I plugged in a microphone, so I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to hold it, though, like this, because it's Friday night. I got my water in a Kylo Ren cup.
Very nice. Very nice. Very
like
nice.
Being a Charlie. And anyway, so yeah, you couldn't make it last week. And I did. I came on solo, and I wasn't going to. And then a couple of our patrons were like, "Well, we're here, just do it." And I was like, oh, "Okay." So I did, and it was a great time because the last week's episode was so much fun that I was like, I can't wait to talk about it. We haven't actually talked much about it yet. We have talked a little bit about it, but not entirely. And yes, I am sitting on a futon like Jabba the Hutt, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I should take the green screen thing off so that people can see what I'm actually like. I am Jabba the Hutt right now, but anyway, it is what it is. And here we are, Friday night. How you doing? Anyway, how you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. You know, like we don't have to focus too much on the last episode, but something I haven't texted you about and wanted to just bring up live on Rebel Scum Podcast is that the third episode of Mandalorian has a strikingly similar type of episode to that of the third episode of Last of Us, where like the story just deviates away from the main cast for a hot second, and it's its own little, what is it when a sitcom and they do a story like a fishbowl story, fish tank,
or whatever. Yeah, the box. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, no, it's like, you know, you're getting too smart on it. It's like when it's like it's a typical Filoni episode in the middle of nothing that's like, this might mean something later on. So it's a Purgle episode. No, like I was like, oh, this is hilarious because it was an engaging story, and it's just has nothing to do. Or well, that's not true. It has Dr. Pershing, so like the character exists in the story, but very interesting. I hope we get to see more of that or what came off the rest of that story. But I thought it was hilarious. But that in those like, I don't know, is Mandalorian doing well rating wise? I like, it's hard to tell because I'm just like, I'm into it.
It's not, but I think that's because it is. People are going to start binging these shows. I think the people that have Disney Plus have it.
Yeah.
People are going to join it for it. I think people are going to binge the show. Yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about The Last of Us versus these last couple episodes, especially, but more so the Book of Boba Fett in a lot of ways as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of comparisons in that they kind of go away, but there is one difference though. One big difference, and that is the characters that we go off on these Star Wars shows are characters that have something to do with the Star Wars shows, and they're not just like characters that like show up and then disappear. That's how it is. It's like, because Pershing and Kane are two characters that we've spent time with in the past, and we should learn more about. Like, we need to learn more about Pershing, like, because he's the guy who's after Baby Yoda this whole time. That's why I think it works better in this. And I'm not going to get into The Last of Us because my ratings it's pretty impressive. But so for me it's like I think Mandalorian showing up in Boba Fett is more Last of Us than this. But even then, but Din Djarin is a character that that Boba Fett got reintroduced to us through. So that's where I felt like those Dale's in the chat. That's where I felt like those comparisons were more so. But I know exactly what you mean because the Last of Us of it all did cross my mind. It's weird though that people like, because you know how I feel about that, but it's funny when I see people complain about it in the book in Mandalorian, and these are the people that are praising The Last of Us. That's what drives me nuts. It's like they're clearly cut from the same cloth. Anyway, I thought anytime we go to Coruscant though, Brock, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we see like that's just the tip of the mountain is in like the courtyard of a lower courtyard of Coruscant is just like wow. It's just like they're creating like the concept that like Coruscant is like many millions of floors down or whatever. Like you're just like, here's a little egg we'll have later that like if we run out of ideas in space, it's like they're just inside a massive building that's also a planet. Like it's just so cool. It's like even though we know about it, it's just like that's very, very nice. But let's go to like this episode. Episode 4, bird watching. No, it wasn't. What was it called now?
I think it was The Foundling.
The Foundling. So it's
The Foundling, directed by Grieve Karga.
Yeah. Like that's awesome. It was really good. Do we know what the name of this planet that they're on now? That the Coven, the Curvent, what is it called? What is the group of what do you call a group of Mandalorians? The Culvert.
The Mandolin. Oh, the
Mandalindians.
Fan hate for Double K. Kathleen Kennedy got I think, Brock, if you check the board, Kathleen Kennedy was fired. Bam! She's fired. I think the planet did get named. There was a name drop.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Maybe Heat Override or Dale or someone can clue us into that, because I have just stopped like planet names, character names. I'm too old to retain this information now, and I just accept it for what it is, and that is Star Wars.
Since we're talking about this, I had a like somewhat theory because I watched this new episode and then watched Bad Batch, which, hey everyone, get back into Bad Batch. I think it's worth it. I already told you, you just need to watch 4 episodes and you're caught up with the story in the series.
I gotta cut you off because you said something like, I wonder if they both know what each other are doing. And Heidi, executive producer Heidi on Twitter, tweeted basically the same thing. Yeah. She's like, they might like, are there? And the thing is, would that really surprise you? Because I haven't seen the Bad Batch yet, but I've been thinking about it. And Mandalorian season 1 introduced to us the power of Force healing through Baby Yoda. And then the next day, we went to the theater to go see The Rise of Skywalker, and Rey used the Force healing. So it might, but it might not be. It might not tie in. It might not. But their track record to me is suggesting that nothing is a coincidence when it comes to the storytelling of this franchise.
Maybe, I don't know. The connection that I did not do any research or did not write any notes or have any proof is in. I watched Mandalorian first, so if spoilers. Let's pause for a second. Like the big part of this episode is this massive pterodactyl lizard birds that steal one of the foundlings, and they chase them. So you see that really cool like scene of like this bird mother flying away to its nest. In Bad Batch, like early on in the episode, it's not the main planet that you spend a lot of time on in the episode, but there is a scene that looks similar to canyons. It's at night, so it's hard to check out details per se. But there are lizard pterodactyls in the distance flying, and I was like, oh, like I just watched this episode. I'm like, oh, what is that? I mean, we're flying weird creatures in Star Wars is by far not new, but I was like, oh, it was 6 a.m. I wasn't gonna go too deep, but yeah, I don't know if anyone else caught that, so that's kind of cool. But the reason I think, well, why would they want to do that? Both seasons of these two different shows have a storyline about cloning going on. The Dr. Pershing cloning story and the Dr. Hemlock, which is a very more villainous, like empire scientist. So this is like Bad Batches during is prior to A New Hope, right? So I don't think we're gonna see characters, but like this could be a cool drop because we know Palpatine's very interested in cloning in both series. I guess we're assuming that all this cloning is being backed by Palpatine. So very, very interesting. Maybe something, I don't know. Like this season feels really, really good because it's like all the things that we've been kind of like getting hints from on other seasons. I feel like we're getting answers. Like I thought of something today. I rewatched the episode today and I was like, I forget what I was going to think. But anyways, James, what are your thoughts on this random theory I put out?
I think the way Favreau and Filoni are conducting their business, I don't think it's going to go immediately to the direction that you are. Yeah. But no. But I think eventually, and now they said they don't have an end game, but I think eventually their end game is getting to that, because I think what's going to have to happen with these shows is that we're going to have to get to Palpatine somehow. Yeah. Like the point of Palpatine has to somehow come up in this show, because the one thing you always say about the Clone Wars is how it kind of saved the prequels for you. So that's what's happening. That's what these shows are. These shows are the Clone Wars for the sequels, but not only that, but also for the prequels and for the original trilogy. This is a way for them to bridge all the gaps and fill all the holes. And I think right now they're gonna concern themselves with Mandalore first, Thrawn second, something third, and then Palpatine. Like they're not gonna rush into. But I think your theory will come to fruition. I think it's the long game, though. I don't think it's the short game. Short game.
Oh no, yeah.
Short yardage.
It's like, it's like maybe they have a cool idea. They're like, let's hint at this, and then but never give like concise like answers, but sort of like, oh, like you're looking for clone. Oh God, what's Andy Serkis's villain's character? Snoke. You're like, is that a Snoke in the background? Whoa. And that, or you're looking for like crew members in the background.
By the way, I gotta ask, like, everybody in the chat, like, did everyone notice that last season, right? Like, I know it's been 2 years, but everyone remembers the Snoke in a tube.
Oh yeah,
right? Because I've seen people tweeting like, did that episode hint at Snoke? I'm like, we've been hinted at. They've hinted at Snoke, like flat out. Like we saw Snoke's face in a test tube already. I don't know.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if he froze.
My mic somehow got. There we go. My mic got unplugged. I don't know how that happened, but I just got a notification saying your mic's unplugged. I don't know. I don't know what I was saying, but people have forgotten, I think.
Yeah.
About last season, I mean, it's been 2 years, I guess, right? But people seem to forget, because people be like, did they hint at Snoke's creation? Yeah. 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And this is the continuation of that Snoke cloning storyline. Now we got, like, that's all this is. So am I muted again?
No, you're good.
Oh, everybody. Yeah.
You're good. You're good. Yeah,
Stop
I know.
singing.
But it's like if they can't like wrap it up, but they're not focusing on it at all, like it's not. It's like it's a win-win because it's like we could either finish our story and then also have this other like backstory of like what all the cloning is, and or we don't. We just do the one, and yeah. So it could be genius. I don't know.
Do you think they need to come to a conclusion on any of that, or can that just kind of live in the background, kind of side by side? I think that the baby Yoda of it all needs to come at a head at some point, right? Because they're still after Baby Yoda, but the whole Snoke and Palpatine thing, I don't think these shows need to necessarily come
No,
to a head at, but
no,
it's got to be there, and you got to feel like that's where
yeah,
it's going. And I think this show, I think the Mandalorian season 2, and now I think they're doing a great job of bringing it towards the sequel trilogy. Because even if you hate those movies, they don't. They exist, like they are there.
yeah,
They're part of the bigger Star Wars story. And someone commented the other day, they're like, well, the new writers that they keep losing is because they don't want to deal with the sequels. It's like, I don't believe that for a second, because even if you absolutely hate the sequels, there are positive elements in them, and there are aspects to them that you can build on and create something really cool out of.
yeah,
Honestly, we're going to talk about this week's episode now, but you got Ahmed Best, the most hated actor in all of Star Wars for 20 years, and instead of them just washing their hands of it, okay, we didn't get Jar Jar Binks, fine, but look at what they did. So you take things that the artists might not even like, and they're going to just like, well, this is part of the canon, so let's use it. But you utilize it to your advantage to tell the story that you've got to tell. And it's the same way they brought Saw Gerrera into Rogue One, right? Gary Whitta was writing it. He's like, I got this idea. I need a character like this. And the story group said, here's Saw Gerrera. We already have that character. Don't create someone new. We've got this. And that's what Star Wars needs to focus on more. It's like, don't concern yourself with this or that. Everything's laid out for you. Tell a brand new story, but then pieces of the other stuff can trickle in. And if you absolutely hate a yellow Rey having a yellow lightsaber, you just work that in a way that fits your story, or you don't use it. I don't think you don't. Anyway, Star Wars is great.
Truly. This episode was like, it was so cool. Like this show is like just a nice slow burn of like, here's a story you can follow, and it's like, it's not like each episode is its own little thing. It's like it's continuing. It's like this change in Bo-Katan is amazing. Like, it's like at the end of season 2, if you told me this is where we would go in the first 4 episodes with that character, I'd be like, no way, no. She's gonna have a immediate showdown, or like tensions will rise between her and Din Djarin. I'm like, no, none of the things that we thought. We should go back to the finale of Mandalorian season 2 and see what we think, or like the weeks prior after that, to like be like, what do you think is gonna happen in Mandalorian season 3? We would be still talking about like, oh, he's like Grogu is still with Luke. Like, that's what's beautiful about this show. It's like, it kind of keeps you guessing. Andor does it better, I think, but like, this season has been really fun. And like the fact that Bo-Katan is like all of a sudden down with the sickness, down with the Death Watch, like that's so great. This doesn't feel like the Death Watch, or well, they call them the Children of the Watch, right? In this, so are we assuming this isn't exactly Death Watch?
It's probably like the sequel trilogy version of
it's the GoBots version of Death Watch. Though you love calling him heavy, but like that's Paz Vizsla, so the remnants of Vizsla. So
first season he was referred to as Heavy, and that was his name.
Right.
Before, I think it was a toy actually gave like in classic stuff. Yeah. But yeah, his name is Paz Vizsla. And here's the thing. Bo-Katan saves his son. So now you've got to assume, which you should never do, that he is going to have to be loyal to Bo-Katan now for at least this season.
Yeah.
He has to, and Bo-Katan, like, she might be into the Children of the Watch now, the Death Watch Juniors, but I don't think she really is. She's got bigger ulterior motives at hand, and that Mythosaur is a big one.
Yeah.
And she's creating her own army, and I think her and the Armorer are going to have some kind of face off down the road, because the Armorer is the only thing that's going to stand in her way from leading Mandalore at this point. And I think that's where we're going. She's got Heavy now. She's got Paz Vizsla. He's got his son on his side. Din's on his side. Grogu's on her side. So I still think something's coming to a head. And they said this is going to deal a lot more with Mandalore. So it's exciting. It's exciting to see, because people complaining like this season has no direction. And I think this season, of all the seasons of Mandalorian, has the most direction. We just haven't been pointed in it exactly as of yet. I think Book of Boba Fett had the most direction of them all, because it was such a contained story. Like, it was one season, like this is the beginning and this is the end, and you kind of knew where it was going. And they did the twists and turns or whatever. But this, I feel like this has direction, and the people are idiots and they just want everything force fed to them nowadays. But it has a clear direction. They know where they're going with it. We have not been given the map yet. We're just getting pieces of it as we go along. It's kind of like when you have the GPS on your phone, and it just kind of gives you a little bit at a time, and you got to just wait, and you're going to reach your destination, and either you're going to be happy with where we land, or you're going to be miserable because you're in Ottawa.
I am entering Ottawa.
I
am exiting Ottawa.
Taking a shot at the capital.
Yeah.
Ottawa.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like this show can just exist of its own. I will say this, it's like we've been doing this for 5 years. I've been liking Star Wars for over 7
years. 7 years in August.
What was 5 years? 7. I've been at Mike for 6 years. That's it. But like, never in my life as a Star Wars fan have I actually cared about the Mandalorians. And there's been many different iterations on it. Like, this show makes me actually interested in the etiquette and the culture of the Mandalorians, because we're getting little bits and pieces of it. It's like at the end of Book of Boba Fett, you kind of find like the armor just seems to be like, oh, you're just a crazy zealot. But now it's like, I don't know. That character just seems to develop more, where it's like, well, like, as long as you abide by these rules, there's way more to this than there is. Like, it's like, I'm like, yeah, let's just spend time learning how they train. It's like, I wonder how many people were like so excited to see like Grogu doing flips over the other.
People are complaining about it because it looked ridiculous, and I was like, "It's Star Wars. He's a freaking puppet."
It's a puppet.
Alien. It looked amazing. It looked amazing. I was so happy when he put the little missiles on him. I was like, "Give me the toy. Give me the toy. Let's go. Give me the toy." And you know what? It was what a great show.
Yeah, solid, just solidly great. It's just so much fun. Yeah, I can't say that more. It's yeah, I love this show. I love it so much. I'm trying to like I did find like this show in comparison to this episode in compared to the last couple episodes, like we were talking on through text, like, ooh, this is very cool. How about this and how about this? And outside of like the oh god, Jar Jar Binks. What's his name? Ahmed Best. Like, that was great. That was solid. His character from that short-lived kids game show, like, just great. Like, but like this show, this episode was more of like, look at these characters, not like, oh, do you get this? Do you get this Star Wars reference? Do you get this? Do you get like it was really, really nice. And the wild thing is, like, we haven't even returned to the Pirates the pirate sub story if we
Well,
ever do.
we
Or
might
wait,
not because
that's true.
they're the bad guys of the skeleton crew. I still think they've got to show up in some capacity. Like they had a standoff with Grief Karga. I don't know how you just kind of let that go, but maybe they do. I don't know. We've seen the characters reunite in a different show, so who the hell knows?
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
Right? And what you said though is a great point because I didn't realize. I saw him at best. I'm like, a part of me was like, is that the character he played in the game show? But then I was like,
Yeah.
no, they wouldn't do that. And then of course they did it. But you don't need to know that. And there's a lot of information on these shows that you don't need to like. Know, and Heidi knows, and Rob. Everyone knows that is diehard Star Wars fans. But if you don't, you can still watch it and not bat an eye. Like there's no like deep cuts where you're like, well, I don't. What's that reference? And I think people. And then there's three types of people. There's people that are clueless to it and they just accept it for what it is. Then there's the diehard fans who are like, oh man, but blah, 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 put the pieces together, blah. And then there's the ones in the middle who know that there's more of a backstory to these things, who overthink it now. And they're like, what do I need to know? What am I missing about this? It's like nothing. Just let the story tell itself. You don't need to concern yourself with the BS that I obsess over. You just enjoy, they're putting the meal on the plate for you. You eat the meal. You don't worry about the buffet. You worry about what's on your table.
Absolutely.
And so there's those people too. And I think those are the ones I think get lost the most because they start to overthink it. And they're the ones that go on the social medias and they bring things up. And then the big diehard fans are like, see, if you don't know X, you're not understanding Y. It's like, no, everyone's just thinking too much. It's Star Wars. It's
exactly.
Good versus evil, helmets versus non-helmets. Let's go. Moff Gideon, when are you showing up?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like, who's the villain of this series right now?
Oh, it's gonna be Moff Gideon. Right now, there's no villain.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Because first season there was really no villain for a while either, right? There was the client, but the client wasn't really the villain. He was just kind of the client. I just got Side Akbar to the chat because they're saying Star Wars fans are Philadelphia Eagles fans. That's what Heidi said. First of all, Star Wars fans don't eat poo off the street. Second, and then he Override said that the Star Trek fans are Raiders fans, and Heidi said no, they're Dolphins fans. And then they're like, and then you don't want to be a Lions fan. Who does? And then he right saying most Canadians are Buffalo Bill game. Are Buffalo Bills? Yeah. Here's the thing. I gotta tell you right now. Lions versus Bills. I will go to a Lions game over a Bills game any day of the week. Screw the drive. I will double the time, double my pleasure. Because one's a dome and one is in Buffalo in the winter. And I'm a hard pass in going to another Bills game. Secondly, there's not as many Bills fans around here as you think. There's
just loud ones.
There's loud ones, but I would argue, to use your phrase, there are more Dallas Cowboy fans around here and Green Bay Packers fans around here than there are Buffalo Bills fans. And that's all we're going to talk about sports. Let's get back into Star Wars. If you were a Buffalo Bills fan, what Star Wars character would you like to be?
Ditka.
But okay, so let's just go right. Ahmed Best. They not. Here's the thing. I talked about this on the other day on the channel. Is they bring Ahmed Best in. He's not Jar Jar Binks, but they bring him in. They make him a Jedi who rescue. They make him the Jedi that rescues Grogu. Then they make him a Jedi with 2 lightsabers who acts like a badass in the rescue of Grogu. Mm-hmm. Then they make him a Jedi who's rescuing Grogu on Darkwing Duck's space bike, and that's like it was driving around Coruscant. Then they make him the Jedi who fights off shock troopers and then takes one of Queen Amidala's Naboo ships and saves Grogu and survives all of it. That is, people are saying redemption. It is redemption, but it was more for me, Brock, in my opinion. That was more. It was more of the Saw Gerrera situation where they're like, we need a character. Yeah. Why don't we use this character that we have who worked with kids? And he's played by an actor who's Star Wars fans, because there are, by and large, the worst people on earth, drove him to consider suicide. Like they drove him to the edge. They're like, let's make it that guy. And now everybody loves him again. And it was a
Yeah.
great moment. He did well. And he
Yeah.
like badass driving around Coruscant and fought shock troopers or the great stormtroopers. Like everything about that moment was fantastic and it was well played. And I think Favreau and Filoni and whoever else came up with that should get they should get a raise. They're not getting paid enough.
So, like, are we gonna see more of that story, or will we see Ahmed Best again? And like, this is the thing I was trying to remember earlier. It's like, oh, how much of like where is Grogu for that from where we've seen so far in this current episode to basically being found by Din, because there's a good, I don't know,
I would
20 years, right? Yeah.
Yes, I would put money on one more, at least one more episode with Ahmed Best as this character, and a little bit more of Grogu learning about the Force. I would put money on that because Grogu knows a little bit about the Force in the second episode of The Mandalorian when he uses it on the Mudhorn, right? So he has an understanding of the Force. Now, whether or not he goes the Rey Skywalker way and just kind of like randomly uses it out of nowhere, which frankly I hope doesn't happen, I can see an episode, maybe not a whole episode, but a part of an episode where he is with Kelleran Beck and he learns a little bit of the Force and we see a little bit more about Grogu's journey. The question I have is Kelleran Beck, are they going to kill this character off? Because now it's kind of tough when you've got a kids game show host. Like, do you just kill off a kids game show host, or do you just have him do what people do best with Grogu and ship him off to the next sucker and then go his separate way? And that way his, whatever happens to Kelleran Beck is ominous to it. We don't know. Because it, like, I don't know, like, can you kill a game show host off in Star Wars? I don't know if that's ever been done.
That is a good question. I have no idea. This actually makes me think of a meme I saw like today, where it's like it's people photoshopped Star Wars faces over a movie scene. So it's the scene from Billy Madison where he calls Steve Buscemi to be like, "Hey man, I was a jerk to you in high school. I just want you to know, like, I'm sorry." And he's like, "Oh, thanks. I really appreciate it." And then he crosses him off his kill list. So it's like, it's Grogu calling Anakin. It's Grogu calling Anakin. And he's like, "Hey, Anakin, I just wanted you to know, I think you should have been on the Jedi Council, and I'm sorry it didn't happen for you." He's like, "Hey, man, I appreciate that." And he just, it's like the board behind him says like Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Grogu, which he's now scratched off. And then it's like sand, your younglings, and then sand. I'm gonna kill sand. So I'm like, it's like, yeah. I mean, now there's like, it's like truly the story of New Hope. It was like, there's no more Jedi. Yeah. No, it is. I mean, I guess it's also.
Are there too many Jedi?
I don't think there's any such thing. I think you just
no. In Return of the Jedi, are there too many Jedi around now? Heidi was ruined because she said she thought I was on the Millennium Falcon because my background changed to the futon. No, I just landed on Hoth. Tauntaun. People listening are like, why do we listen to this?
So, yeah, I don't know. It's I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Mandalorian episode 4, solid stuff.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 15 out of 10, and then the next day I changed my rating to a 16 out of 10.
Oh.
Yeah, significantly higher than my rating of The Last of Us, Brock. Significantly higher because it has two things that The Last of Us will never have. Pedro Pascal. Damn it. Can't even.
And a spunky sidekick. Oh,
wait. What is happening here? Well, weird creatures chasing. Come on. Although neither of shows have very many weird creatures, so you got that going for it. They are basically the exact same thing. Only one No, they both have flashbacks. They're the same
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
They're the exact same show. Actually, I guess you could argue that Ahmed Best is to Grogu what Storm Reed is to girl from Last of Us. I can't remember her name. Grogat. What's her
Oh
name?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, they're basically the same, right? One, they rescue each other. Only one
Yeah.
gets bit and one gets out of the jet. How cool was it though when they're flying away? And I saw an edit on the TikTokers. RIP TikTok, RIP RIP TikTok soon, I suppose is happening. But I saw an edit where someone edited Ahmed Best flying out and the Jedi Temple in flames behind him. And then it cut to Revenge of the Sith and Padme looking out her window at that same scene in Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, oh, amazing. I was
Wow.
like, that it was really well done. I should have sent it to you, but TikTok rip. I don't want your phone to get hacked on the TikTok, Brock. I don't know what's going on other than nobody can compete with TikTok. There's something about it that people are like, I need to be on the TikTok. The reels on Instagram are not good enough for me. I got to get on TikTok. By the way, if I post a meatball video, it does very well on the YouTube. Just so you know. If you ever see meatballs, it's because it does very well on YouTube.
There you go.
They should call it Cold. Oh my God, Heidi. Why did I read that? I'm a good joke fit. Mute the mic.
This is why you don't like lounge while you're on like a semi-fake reputable broadcast. That is us. Yeah, that's right. Just get more and more prone. That would be perfect.
I'm gonna lay down.
Yeah, just lay down as much as you can so that the virtual background will slowly just eliminate you from it.
But I got my Jaws poster up top. So I got this Jaws poster. Do you know where I got this Jaws poster from, Brock?
HMV.
I got this from
Sam the Record Man.
I got this from Home Depot. It was from Home Depot like 4 years ago. Aaron and I were shopping, and they had Jaws, Pulp Fiction, and something else. And I was like, "What? This is awesome!" And Aaron was like, "You should get it." And I said, "Why do you condone my habits?" So I got it, and I put it up in this room, kind of like just to piss Aaron off, because this is the guest bedroom. So I put it up to piss her off, and she goes, "Get that poster down." And I said, "No," and I left it up. And then our nieces and nephew came over to stay over for the night. It was years ago, and my niece, who I think was like 6 or 7, she runs up to him. She goes, "We go, what?" She goes, "I want to sleep in the Jaws room." And I was like, "Ah!" So the poster's been up here since I guess for 4 years now. It'll come down soon though, but it's a great poster. Home Depot. Who would have thought?
Every time you look at the poster, your face disappears. Now you're just hands.
I love the Return of the Invisible Man is one of my favorite movies. Couldn't get any friends to come over to watch it as a kid though, because it was black and white, and kids and black and white do not go together at all. Anything else you want to say about the last 2 episodes?
I love it. I want to watch them again. I think like, for sure, like when this season's over, I'm just gonna watch the whole thing straight through again. Like it's just great. It's like you watch these characters like Bo-Katan that existed in a cartoon walking around and doing stuff, and you're like, that looks good. That looks really good.
But the lighting, I want to talk about this with you after episode 3 was the lighting of Bo-Katan in the cockpit blew my mind. I was like, why does it look so good? It looks so good.
Yeah.
Her mask, her helmet, and everything is just looking like way too top notch. I don't know. Like last year was fine, but this year's just I don't know. Maybe they've really figured out the volume and how to get it lit properly.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it just every time they're in a cockpit. I said this about R5, how you look like a Muppet. I'm like, every time they're in a cockpit, everything just looks like I want to touch it.
Yeah.
I want to touch it. Don.
Oh my God. Let's go to the odds.
All right, Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to us by Patreon.
Never Tell Me the Odds, brought to you and me and everyone in the vicinity by patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, why don't you come on down and support us? Because I don't know. We got to get James a chair. I don't know what's happening. But anyways, like, support us because we love talking about Star Wars and we love bringing it to you. And we love the following people: Heidi Feder, executive producer; Barry Brophy; Dennis Allen; Randy Kenobi; Mary Kristen Aton; Jeff Wilson; Phil Stanforth; Rez; Scott D; Josh Price;
Matt W., Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Disney Duzzy, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Deners, and Dale Erdman, who I think went to bed or went to work, one or the other.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on all of these. It's awesome. Also, for anybody that doesn't trust Patreon, because people are like, I don't trust Patreon. We have channel members available now as well. You could be a channel member.
Wow.
So get me a chair. My neck is starting to hurt, but I'm going to be stubborn about this. I'm not going to get up. By the way, Skydome looking phenomenal. Can't wait to get there. Probably won't this year, but it's looking great, Brock. Just want to say, really enjoying the way that it's looking. All right, our first odd. Never tell me the odds. Grogu will restore the Jedi Order. Episode 12. Grogu restores the Jedi Order. Damon Lindelof quit Star Wars because Kathleen Kennedy said Grogu has to be the one to restore the Jedi Order.
I'm gonna go 20% just because I'm like, maybe. It's definitely a character they should make that character as lucrative as possible. Like, yeah.
I think
you're unplugged again.
I think the problem is Baby Yoda is cute and great and everything.
Yeah.
But teenage Groot nobody cares for.
Oh, don't get me started about Groot. He looks so weird in the Christmas special.
That's how he looks in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
And I don't like it. I don't care for it. It looks weird.
But I'm just saying, everyone loves Baby Groot.
Yeah.
Then teenage Groot comes, you're like, I don't want this. And so now we got weird bodybuilder Groot. Like, so what's like Baby Yoda, the minute he's not a baby anymore, it's gonna lose its luster. So I'm kind of fearful of that. But they're so screwed with ideas that I can't. I'm gonna go 30%. The Jedi, just let the Jedi Order die for a while. Restore it in 200 years and do the whole story over again and do a proper reboot.
Okay.
Never tell me the odds. Din will help Bo-Katan lead Mandalore. We kind of talked about this a little while ago.
Yeah, maybe. I have no idea. Like, no, I guess we've seen the Black Saber, Dark Saber, Black Saber, like in the season, but it's just like it's only been 4 episodes, and I forget, like, oh yeah, we talked about this and that and that. So I have no idea who's gonna rule Mandalore right now. It's like it feels like it might be just the children of the Watch.
Yeah, maybe there is no one leader, and they're like, no, it needs to be a group, a committee.
But I'll go 60% because I feel like they're putting a lot of work into this right now.
Yeah, it's got to be one of those two, or maybe Grogu. Obviously, I'm going to go 60% because I can't go full Brock again.
Yeah.
And our final out is brought to us by executive producer Heidi Feder. I got a message at 10:29 a.m. on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't never told me the odds, but don't read it until you watch The Mandalorian. Spoilers. And then there was a space. So I said, well, I'm not looking at that. So I read it at night. And it was never tell me the odds. What are the odds that Padme sent the Naboo ship to Coruscant?
The Naboo ship.
That? Yeah, because it was. I think that's the one from Revenge of the Sith, because the one in Attack of the Clones gets blown up, and the one in the Phantom Menace, which is my favorite of all the Queen's ships, it just kind of vanished. Lucas was like, we need more toys. Use a different ship.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He gets into a Naboo cruiser. Oh, man. I'm gonna go 75% because that sounds awesome. I'm really hesitant to believe there'll be, but like that would be sweet. That would be awesome. That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm wondering what her connection would be. People are speculating now that it actually is Yoda's child, and I kind of don't necessarily not buy into that because there is 3 of these species, with Yaddle being the other one. And did Yaddle die in the cartoon? What happened to Yaddle? Does Dooku kill Yaddle?
Yeah.
So Yaddle dies. I haven't seen it. Thanks for ruining it. So Yaddle's dead. You've got Yoda, and now you've got Grogu. There's no. That's it. That's all you got. So I think this character, I think Grogu being, possibly the last of that species, is a big deal for that one. So those are our odds. Let us know what your odds are in the comments below or in the live chat to the side as I sit up from my seat so that Brock can bring you the news. Hollow news, da 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 da. Hollow news, da 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 da. Hollow da 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 da. The only time my mic won't get unplugged is when I'm singing.
Hollow news, the news you need to know right now. Everything, everywhere, all at once. Directors Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, aka the Daniels, have clarified their involvement in an upcoming Star Wars spin-off series. The directing duo, also known as the Daniels, as I just said, addressed concerns that they had been sucked up the corporate machine following reports of their involvement in Star Wars Skeleton Crew. In an Instagram story, Kwan explained they were only hired as guest directors on one episode of the Disney Plus series, which is created by John Watts and Christopher Ford. All the people adding us about getting sucked up by the corporate machine can chill, Kwan wrote. These headlines are always misleading. Don't worry, we aren't working on a whole series. We guest directed on one episode. John Watts approached us to do an episode a while ago before Everything Everywhere All at Once even came out. Kwan said, we love John, love Star Wars, love learning new tech. We love meeting new cast and crew, and we needed the days to keep our healthcare. So it was an easy yes. So all of that was decided prior to that. Their now award-winning movie have ever coming out. So it's like, everybody relax. The Daniels, they're just going to do more work. And if you've seen that movie, that'd be a pretty cool episode of Skeleton Crew. So all I took away from that story is they're shooting the Skeleton Crew. There's a new Darth Vader comic coming out. Learn the power of the dark side with the first look at Star Wars Darth Vader Black, White, Red #1, an anthology issue created by an all-star lineup of the comics talents. Currently, you can see it on Marvel.com. The stories will be written by Jason Aaron, Leonard Kirk, Peach Momoko, Torun Grombeck, and Klaus Janson. The issue sees Aaron team up with Kirk for a rousing saga that will span all 4 issues, while Momoko contributes her first ever interior work to a Star Wars comic. Likewise, acclaimed writer Torun Grombeck will make her Star Wars debut in a story with Jansen. All I am this is Jason Aaron speaking. All I am surrounded by is fear and dead men. That moment from Star Wars Vader Down is still one of my favorite things I've written during my time at Marvel. I love getting to let Darth Vader cut loose with all his power in such an epic way, and I couldn't pass up the chance to revel in the dark side again and put Vader in an even more perilous situation and see how he carves that out. So if you want to check out this comic, head over to Marvel.com. And there is I believe, few panels of what the story, or just a breakdown of the story. And in our final story, according to Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends director David Gordon Green was also developing a Star Wars movie for Lucasfilm at one time. However, it appears the studio chose to part ways with the filmmaker after his 2021 horror sequel was met with most negative reviews. The Scooper explains that Green was going to get a Star Wars movie off the ground prior to Halloween Kills release. And despite the filmmaker's hopes to the contrary, his Star Wars project is now a non-starter, particularly given how poorly those Halloween sequels seem to go over. it's hard to say we won't get any horror Star Wars movies coming our way, but people are trying. But don't be scared because this is Hollow News.
Few things stuck out to me during the news today, Brock, and I gotta chime in.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the story you just mentioned,
Yep.
another person coming in, make a Star Wars movie, and
Yep.
then their movie bombing and parting ways. There's a lot of parting ways. I'm glad, obviously, that wasn't. There's a rumor going around, and I think it's from somewhere that they're going to announce 3 Star Wars movies at Celebration, and I've got to flat out say that if they do that, I don't know how I'm going to react. I'll probably do a rant. I just like what is the point? Because now one of them that they're going to announce, apparently, Brock, is the one that Damon Lindelof wrote and then walked away from because he wasn't happy with, and now they got Stephen Knight to come in and write it. And it's like, but there's nothing tangible there. Like there's nothing there. You had a writer come in, submitted a script, said I don't want to work on this anymore, and left. Now you got another writer coming in for a director. Like I just stop it. Like just imagine if they would have given, and maybe it would have been worse or the exact same. I don't know. But if they didn't rush J.J. Abrams on Rise of Skywalker, maybe something else could have come from that. Maybe a little more things would have been fleshed out. Maybe Finn would have told Rey what the hell he wanted to say for 2 hours. I don't know. Like there are things. Like just stop it. Like nobody is crying over a Star Wars movie right now. We're happy with TV. Figure it out and then get to us. Don't announce anything. Secondly, the people complaining about the Daniels directing an episode of shut up. That's all I want to say. I just want to say that. Like directors have come in and directed TV shows before. It's like, give me a break. Do you know what it is for that? Like, okay, they're artists, sure, but do you know what else they need, Brock? Money. They need a paycheck so they can eat and feed their families and their pets. So let them direct Star Wars. They're somewhat talented. They might have a trophy on their shelf. Like, shut up. Why can't this is why Star Wars is the greatest franchise we talked about on my best, but it has the worst fans on earth. Just zip it. This right here is our March Madness. Sorry, my internet froze.
Yeah.
They're going to announce a Batgirl movie at Star Wars Celebration. Here's our second round. I mean, the answers are pretty much it. I might post this again on Instagram. We got Din Djarin versus Anakin Skywalker, Han Solo versus Chewie, Vader versus Moff Gideon, and the second sister versus Maul, formerly Darth. The results have been none. So the Anakin Luke one, I will tell you, Brock, was 50-50. And we had 2 write-ins that shifted that in Anakin's direction. If you can believe that. That was pretty shocking. Chewie was a landslide. Din started very tight with Bo and then broke away. Vader was way more than I thought.
Oh, hey, I'm still here. Yeah, so that March Madness looks pretty good. I think it'd be pretty cool if Chewbacca won over Han Solo and went to the finals. There he is. Welcome back. At least it froze on your full screen graphic.
Did it really?
Oh, yeah.
On the yeah. I got booted out of StreamYard. It was like StreamYard was like, "You, no soup for you," and threw me out. All right, top 5. Here we go.
Top 5.
I heard a chair squeak.
Yeah, that's probably me.
I'm not even on a chair. I'm on a futon. This has been well established. All right, here we go. Top 5 moments from episodes 3 and 4. We'll do a dual top 5. My number 5, Grogu winning the youngling battle or foundling battle. Suck it, foundling. Paz Vizsla's son. Terrible. You're a terrible Mandalorian. I just like seeing Baby Yoda jump and shoot paint guns.
What is this top 5 again? Top 5 moments in the episode?
This episode and the last episode, 3 and 4.
I'm gonna know number 5 is the pterodactyl just appearing out of nowhere. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like we're getting a lot of creatures this season, like wicked. So yeah.
Great moment. My number 4 is the empty Imperial Star Destroyer that they go into on Coruscant in episode 3. I thought, it's kind of weird that no one was guarding it, but I really don't care. It looked awesome seeing a park there, and they jumped on board. So that's my number 4.
Imperial Biscuits is my number 4. When are they going to sell those at the Disney store?
FYI, another thing I saw on RIP TikTok, Brock, Star Wars official TikTok page did a how to make them video, a cooking video, a baking video on how to make your own biscuits at home. I'll send you the link. Yeah, you can make it.
I also saw one where it's like, what's the stew that Bo-Katan makes? Poppin'.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Potpourri.
Puffin stew.
Pop
up video.
Pop-up video. My number 3 is gonna be the dog fight over Bo-Katan's castle. That's pretty sweet. It looked good, and it was just wow. I can't believe this is a TV show.
I'm sending you the biscuits video so you can make them this weekend.
Nice.
I want to see a video, Brock. I want to see a video of you making them.
Nah.
I have to pick up my phone. My number 3, Bo-Katan dogfight from last week's episode. The opening of it, so good. Such a good moment.
My number 2 is gonna be
Ragnar.
That's my sword.
Heavy. 2 cups flour, 1 cup powdered sugar, S sticks butter. How many sticks? S? Is that all it is? That sounds like
bacon.
2 sticks of butter. That's a lot of butter. I'll use vegetable oil. How about that? How about half a teaspoon of vegetable oil? They don't fluff. They're not fluffy. They look like cookies and cream bars, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I know? I wonder what he actually ate. They're like, these are veggie sticks. They had to have no crunch, you'd imagine. They're probably like shortbread. They might have just been shortbread. My number 2, Shock Troopers. Shock Troopers. I love Shock Troopers. They appeared. They are from the Battlefront video game. Dog hair flies by. I loved seeing them in live action. Anytime the clones show up or stormtroopers or anything shows up, I am all in on every freaking capacity. So just seeing them show up, and that's my number 2.
My number 1 is going
number two.
I already did number 2.
What?
Yeah.
Did you skip one?
No.
Did I do?
I got ahead of you because you got distracted by something.
That sounds like me. Oh, the cookies. Sorry, it was the cookies. I'm trying to help you with cookies.
Okay, great. My number 1. Great. Don't give these people extra content.
It's Star Wars.
Number one for me is going to be the return of
Lemon zest.
Ahmed Best, aka Game Show.
Samesies.
So like that's cool. That was a cool flex, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It was like
Keller and
ooh,
Beck.
Keller and
Absolutely.
Beck.
I completely agree with you. There's lemon zest in the cookies, FYI. Lemon.
There you go.
zest in the cookies. I completely agree. That was my number one. It was my favorite moment, maybe of the series. I don't know. Did it trump Luke Skywalker showing up? Maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. In the moment, I mean, recency bias says yes, but probably not. Ultimately, I would probably say no. But I absolutely loved it. I know people complain about it because God forbid we enjoy things in this day and age. You can't. I don't know. This feels like the show that just keeps on giving. You just can't ask for more.
Yeah, you can't stop the beat, man. Like you can't stop it. I wish I kind of want this entire series now. I just give it to me. But
I think honestly, ultimately, that's why I think the ratings being low are a combination of like Andor ratings were low, and I just there might have been too much. A lot of Star Wars is going on. People might be like meh, but also I think realistically, Brock, I love the weekly, and the weekly works for doing a podcast. But I think people are just like, I'll just wait and watch them all, or I'll watch it at my own pace when it's all said and done. I mean, I know my parents are doing that. I'm like, you guys watch? They're like, no, we're just gonna wait, and they'll watch them all at once. They're kind of like me, where they'll watch two at a time, right? We'll watch two and then whatever. And they did that with Obi-Wan, and they did that. I don't know if they've watched Andor yet, but they did that with Obi-Wan and I think Boba Fett, and they really like both of those. So maybe that's the way to go. It's just watch them all. And this one, like I said a few weeks ago, this one really feels like it is the sum of all of its parts. Like this season is one big long movie instead of, like you said, the week to week extravaganzas that we're used to on Mandalorian.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm loving this season. It's easy. It's just so easy to like it. So please more. Please more. Yeah.
Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. That is Star Wars on a Friday night. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Brock, anything else you want to say on this 279th installment of the Rebel Scum podcast?
No. I'm gonna leave. I believe Yellow Jackets has returned tonight. So boom. Boom. Season 2, Yellow Jackets.
Go. Speaking of Yellow Jackets, that's an HBO show, right? So is that like at 9:00 tonight? It's on. Is that how Yellow Jackets work? Does it have a time? Or is it?
I don't think it's an HBO show. I think it's like a Showtime.
It's Showtime. Right, it's not HBO. Yeah, it's something else. Okay, here's the reason why I bring it up, because The Last of Us, say what you will, I know you weren't a big fan, but the thing that The Last of Us did better than anything else I can say right now is it was on at 9:00 on Sundays.
Yeah.
It wasn't 3 a.m. on Sundays. It was 9:00. Why cannot they do this? I don't know what English that was. Why can they not do that on Disney Plus? Just frickin' put The Mandalorian on at a time that makes sense, and I don't have to like avoid going on the internet for an entire day. Like the entirety of the internet you have to avoid, and a lot of my job requires me to go on the internet, and I have to like avoid it at all costs. And it's really difficult to do that when you drop it at 3 in the freaking morning.
I guess because HBO still exists as like a terrestrial channel, right? Like it's not just a streamer.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I can think of why. And HBO Sundays has like existed for the last 20 years, right? So
Disney Friday. By the way, I also prefer these shows on Fridays, but I'm fine with Wednesdays if you just don't make it freaking 3 in the morning, like dickheads. 3 in the morning, bro. And like Fantasia messaged me really early. He goes, stay off everything. And everyone spoiled Ahmed Best within seconds. It's like the minute that door, like people had their phone ready. It's like, geez, man, like no chill. And even Star Wars, official Star Wars, released the poster of Ahmed Best the next day. There are people that still wait to watch until the weekend. The next day, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, cut us some slack. At least put it on at a decent time, because 3 a.m. is just bull crap. And it is midnight on the West Coast, but West Coasters suck. No offense to them. I'm joking. But like, that's fine. Like midnight is like reasonable. But 3 a.m., that's ridiculous. Like, either like don't even put it on the East Coast, or just don't, like, just stop it. I can't handle it anymore. I'm not waking. I can't watch it before work. I just stop. No. I'm upset, Brock, with Disney. Bob
Yeah,
Iger.
I know.
I'm talking to you, Bob Iger. Freaking Bob Iger.
Anyways,
Thank you so
this
much
has
for
been the
watching.
Rebel Scum podcast.
Watch The Last of Us. All right, he's Brock. I'm James. Have a great night, everybody. And a great weekend, too. This has been a blast, Brock. Oh, hold on a second. I have to kill time while I have put this back in. Brock, you at some point during today's show. Oh, wow. This is very slow. At some point during today's show, you were always scum.
Rebel Scum.
Scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.